Hi there, Coach Sage of VO2 Max Productions here with a race recap vlog of the Western States 100. It's about 4 days. Pacer, come over here. Pacer. It's about 4 days after the race. Babysitting the dog here. Dog sitting. Pacer, you're in frame. Anyway, it took me a couple days to recap, to absorb the pain and the voluntary suffering that this race. Pacer, over here. Stay. But yeah, we're camping outside of Alcouloumre, Colorado here. If you can see some in the background, it's gorgeous here. Driving long trip back home, not running at all, of course. Trying to absorb the whole experience at Western States. And obviously, if you know the results, got 11th place. I ran 17 hours, 16 minutes, 17 hours, 18 minutes. I don't even know. And you know, things were going really well till about Forest Hill, and then things really fell apart, and it was mainly my stomach. It was mainly waves of nausea and a lot of puking in the last 40 miles, which led to a lot of dehydration, a lot of walking, a lot of bonking, and a lot of people passing me in the second half, which was kind of a total disaster. But I did accomplish my first goal of finishing, and that was really the #1 thing, was trying to get to the finish line, complete the full 100-mile distance, respect the race, respect the other competitors, and just kind of a quick run through of how it went down, I guess, blow by blow. We started out fairly conservatively. I think the weather was pretty, you know, typical for Western States. It was quite hot in the canyons, and you felt the heat, and we knew that was coming, but it wasn't an extremely hot year. That being said, it wasn't a cool year. But you know, guys like some of the favorites in the preview, we're all in the top 20, top 25 going up the first climb, and we were power hiking a lot, taking it easy. I was relaxing back with experienced guys like Ian Sharman, Jeff Browning, my Hoka teammates Chris Danucci, Bob Shebus, Paul Terranova, and yeah, things were real mellow. But I realized when we started going down the escarpment about 6 miles into the race, it was a narrow single track, and it was more rocky and technical than I thought. So I kind of tucked in with Laney and those guys, and we were in the top 10, just chilling out, relaxing. And I look over my shoulder, and Jim Walmsley's way back. He's probably in 25th place or so, and I was like, man, he's taking it really conservative. It's probably smart. And Laney, and I knew we weren't on record pace at the time, so it was pretty mellow. And then about another mile later, Jim Walmsley comes flying by us on the rocks, absolutely bombing the first downhill. In my opinion, very amazingly fast. To me, it would blow out my quads. It would be reckless. He flies back past us like it's a 10K. This is the first downhill of the race. There's over 20,000 feet of descent, and he flies to the front. And from then on, the first aid station's around 10 miles in. He's starting to get ahead of course record pace. Laney and I were back in about 5th or 6th position, slower than course record pace, 3 minutes slower. And from then on, it's you know, Walmsley's opening up the gap, opening up course record pace. And I'm looking at my splits. I have some splits on my arm. And I realized that the next big aid station where my parents are crewing for me at, around mile 27, I think, Miller's Defeat maybe. You know, I was right on course record pace around there, and you know, it's 4.5 hours into the race, feeling pretty good. Laney, I was running with Dave Laney, who I knew was really experienced. You know, finished Western States twice, third at UTMB. He's like, this is a good pace, and we're hearing reports that Walmsley's, you know, 5 minutes up, 6 minutes up, 8 minutes up, I think at that point. And then there's some separation, and Dave Laney and I are in second and third, and after the aid station we actually see a bear. There's a giant black bear out in the woods up in the corner, and I saw its teeth. It scared me. It really scared me, but you know, it didn't surprise me, I guess, because there are a lot of bears out there. It was pretty cool to see. Laney and I shared that experience, and then right after that there was a climb up to Robinson Flat, and Laney was power hiking. I decided to run it. It's probably a bad idea in retrospect, but from then on I think I was about a minute or two ahead of course record pace into Robinson Flat. Still feeling pretty good 30 miles into the race, almost a third of the way done. But I'm hearing, you know, Walmsley's 10 minutes up or 8 minutes up at that point. And I'm like, man, he's flying. And you know, I'm just hoping that I'm running my own race and running a smart race, but at the same time I am competing for place and competing for the win. So I'm making this risk assessment in my head, and I know that I am taking a risk going out under course record pace, especially in my first 100. But you know, I'm not trying to run for second place, so I'm making that risk assessment. I know Laney and those guys are chasing me behind me, or at least I think they are. I think I had 2 minutes on Laney at that point. But yeah, it was feeling pretty good. I made a strong climb up Robinson Flat, and then the next descent down into Dusty Corners, I actually did gain time on Jim Walmsley there. If you look, I think I got the Strava course record on that 8-mile segment. It's a slight downhill as well. But I was running some low six flat miles at that point, which was probably unsustainable and too fast, at least for my fitness level. When I got to that aid station, they said Walmsley had 6 minutes on me. But I had no idea what was going on behind me. I didn't see Laney, I didn't see Pacer. Just put a thing in the, you can't put grass in front of the camera. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on behind me really, except I knew Laney and all those other guys were chasing me down and were gonna be really strong. So, you know, by the time I get to the canyons, it's hot. I got a ice handkerchief on that I'm wearing a white hat. It looks ridiculous. I should never wear hats. They don't fit my head well. But I'm trying to stay cool, and I am staying cool. The heat was manageable, I think, but at the same time, I was getting very, very thirsty, and I was chugging a lot of ice cold water really fast, as well as chugging soda pop, Sprite, specifically, pretty early on. And when I combine pop, soda pop, Sprite, Coke, whatever, with gels, usually that's too much sugar too fast, and I should have known that, but I wanted to keep the calories coming in, and I thought it would be good sodium balance. I don't know what I was thinking, but last time I puked in a race was at North Face 50 mile San Francisco. I ended up puking and rallying there, but it was because I took a lot of soda and gels at the same time. And I think because Sandy and I eat so healthy and clean now, I'm not used to so much refined sugar all at once. In retrospect, if I should be eating more bananas and just taking my gels and more different kind of electrolyte, maybe something more with salt, instead of relying on just the salt from potato chips, which were a little harder for me to digest because I was working hard. And again, you know, through the canyons, I was still holding 8 minutes, 10 minutes behind Walmsley up Devil's Thumb. I think he got 20 seconds on me on that climb, and I threw everything in the kitchen sink into the Devil's Thumb climb, and I probably shouldn't have because you're only 47 miles into the race. But yeah, I'm hearing these reports. I still think guys are right behind me. Tofo Castañer, sorry if I pronounced his name wrong, from Spain, as well as Thomas Lohr Blanchette, and Dave Laney, and you know, Ian Sharman, Jeff Browning. Those guys I knew were all lurking behind me. I thought they were only a couple minutes behind me. In retrospect, they were actually 10 or 15 minutes behind me probably at that point, as well as Andrew Miller, who ended up winning. And so yeah, I was running kind of scared, and the splits on my arm all smeared off from the water crossings and being doused with water, so I had no reference point at that time. And I guess some reports had said I got up to 12 or even 16 minutes ahead of course record pace in that section. If I knew that, I probably would have slowed down, but it was also kind of frustrating to hear that Walmsley was still opening up his lead, because I said to myself pre-race, maybe foolishly, if he has more than 15 minutes on me at Forest Hill, he's going to be hard to catch. Now, that's granted we don't both spectacularly blow up or get lost or something like that, which obviously happened. And I blew up really bad after Forest Hill. So, feeling okay, climbing well. Legs are feeling pretty decent because I'm trying to control the downhills. I'm wearing my Hoka Speed Goats. I'm trying to pace myself for Forest Hill, because I always hear the race starts after Forest Hill, and you know, you got to pace yourself for Forest Hill. You got to have legs after Forest Hill. Well, I didn't calculate that. My hydration wasn't going well in terms of electrolyte balance, stomach osmolality. I don't know exactly what it is. I'm trying to piece it together. Probably too much sugar too fast, too much refined sugar from drinking too much soda. And you know, I was running out of water between some of the canyons. I had 36 ounces on me. I was drinking water really fast and craving water at some point, when I probably should have been sprinkling in a little more salt or sodium and potassium, and I guess it was sloshing around, because I started feeling nauseous coming up towards Michigan Bluff, and that's when I really started feeling it. I was slowing down. Walmsley was pulling ahead. He had about 16 or 18 minutes there, and I love those climbs. I love the climb from Michigan Bluff to Forest Hill. I thought I was going to blaze that. and I ended up walking part of that road ascent, which is not very steep, laying down in the creek before Forest Hill to cool off, and just starting to feel my stomach really turn. But I still was optimistic. I was in second place. I was under course record pace. Got into Forest Hill. Sandy paced me in. Ginger Runner was filming there. It was awesome. My parents were out there. There's so many people at Forest Hill cheering me on. Someone said I was 5 minutes. Dylan Bowman said I was 5 minutes under course record pace, and that really picked me up. But then I hear Jim Walmsley's 20 minutes ahead, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I don't know. That's a really, really impressive performance. He was just bombing those downhills. Like, I haven't seen anyone tear down hills with such reckless abandon and not worry about their quads blowing out so early in a race, especially a big net downhill race, and to be able to manage fluid and stuff. But, you know, the nausea comes with working hard. It's a part of the sport. If you're working hard, your blood flow is diverted to your muscles, your heart. It's trying to cool. You're trying to cool off, and so there's less blood going to your GI tract, which a lot of times does result in nausea. But it does depend on how well you're absorbing calories and electrolytes and what the balance is, what your hydration levels are. But I hadn't puked yet, so I ate a banana in Forest Hill. I tried to restock on some stuff. Picked up my pacer, Joel Frost-Tiff, great buddy of mine, and I said, Joel, we're not moving real great, but I switched into the Hoka Claytons because I wanted to fly. And I was running okay after that. But 2 miles later, going down Cal Street, beautiful single track trail where Rob Carr really opened up, I started puking. And that banana came right back up. And I hate puking, it's disgusting. I've always had this like public fear of throwing up. Unfortunately, we were in the woods, but it stopped me in my tracks. I wish I could be like Bob Companion in the Olympic trials back in the day and be puking and running at 5 minute mile pace, but that's not me. When I start puking, I start locking up. The other unfortunate thing that I learned was my stomach muscles were also very, very sensitive and locking up. And I think I haven't done enough core work. I haven't done Sandy's routine enough. I should do Sandy's routine more. But I haven't been doing enough core work. Stomach muscles were giving out. Diaphragm was locked up. So whenever time I puked, stomach muscles would seize up. It made it hard to breathe. Really bad. Like it always makes it hard to breathe when you're puking, obviously. But I was cramping up in my stomach also in the muscular level, which is a new experience for me. But it happens with all the downhill and the stress you're putting on your core. Pacer, you knocked over the camera. You can't knock over the camera like that. Sorry, the dog's right at the camera there. But yeah, it was rough, and I had waves of nausea, and I could not shake it through Cal Street, and I was running out of fluid between aid stations, and I told my pacer, I was like, dude, when's the next aid station? And he's like, it's in 3 miles, and I was like, I don't have anything to drink, I don't have any water, and it's tantalizing, because I could hear Joel's got his full pack with ice cold water in it, shaking around, and of course he can't give any to me because that would be cheating, and pacers don't aid or mule or crew or do anything for you. So you know, he knows I'm out of water, he's running the water, I could hear the water sloshing around. All I want is a little sip of water because I'm the most thirsty I've ever been in my whole life. But at the same time, I shouldn't have been just drinking plain water. I needed electrolytes, and I figured that out a little bit. So I tried to put a noon tab in at the next aid station. I tried to drink ginger ale. I tried to eat a little chips, and then I puked them right back up right after that aid station. So waves of nausea, puking, feeling really weak from the dehydration and the electrolyte imbalance, as well as not taking in calories basically anymore, or not absorbing them because I'm puking them up. And so I'm stopping, I'm walking on these downhills, these smooth runnable downhills. You know, I had heard at Forest Hill that Andrew Miller and who was in third at that time, the other European guy, blanking on his name, sorry, Demerick, they were hunting me down, but they were 23 minutes behind at Forest Hill. So I was thinking, you're definitely going to get second if you just keep moving. But I wasn't moving. I started laying down on the trail. It was bad. Hopefully you'll see some of that maybe in the recap if my pacer Joel was filming all of that. But it's a struggle. It's a big struggle for me to make it to Rucky Chucky. And when I get to Rucky Chucky aid station, the river crossing at mile 78, I know I have to stop and regroup and sit down at the aid station and go in medical. I think there's a doctor there. He's telling me you need more salt. You can't be just drinking plain water. Like you're totally trashed. But I'm totally nauseous, and I'm able to sit down some ginger ale and get down a handful of chips, but rest up for 20 minutes and just regroup because I know I'm not going to be able to finish if I don't do that. And at the same time, you know, Walmsley's crushing it. He's way ahead of record pace. I heard he, you know, swam in the river, and the guys behind me had already passed me. Andrew Miller and the guy in third they blew past me right before the river. Really demoralizing. More guys passed me right after the river. It's basically all downhill from there, but it was a struggle. I laid down on the trail probably 5 times during that last 30 miles, and you know, it's probably my worst meltdown in an ultra in my whole life. Because at Yurok, Colorado 3 years ago, I lay down on the trail once and stopped, but I never actually sat down at an aid station and had to really regroup and doubt myself that I wouldn't be able to finish, because at that point it was all about finishing. And you know, I really tried to get top 10. I still wanted to be top 10. Guys were blowing past me like I was standing still. Jeff Browning, Ian Sharman, my Hoka teammate Chris Danucci, Bob Shebis, all those other guys. You could look at the results of the guys in the top 10. They ran smart races like experienced veterans would, and it was great. And you know, hats off to Walmsley for just absolutely, I don't know how he went so fast. I don't think people realize how fast that performance is. To come through Forest Hill or to get to the river about a half hour under course record pace is absolutely ridiculous. Because I mean, guys like Rob Carr and Killian and, you know, Timothy Olson and all these really experienced guys have run Western States for years and years and years, and to split that much faster on a relatively average weather year, I don't know how he did it. It was, and you know, to go off course I know is rough too, and I know exactly where that happened, but there are ribbons all over the course. You know, a couple times early on I thought I was getting lost as well, but they always said, you know, there's ribbons every quarter mile, so if you don't see a ribbon after a quarter mile, then you're off course. But you know, it's a tough thing, and when you're tired later on, it's harder to see those ribbons. So you know, it made for a dramatic event, I guess, for people following the top end of the race. And you know, I feel I wanted to finish because I didn't want to let my family down. I didn't want to let Sandy down. All the crews and support, all you guys following along who were cheering for me or just following the race. I wanted to honor and respect the race and finish as hard as I could. And I was thinking of you guys. I was thinking of the film actually even. But I was in a pretty dark point, and 100 miles really tests you because you're out there for so long and things go so exponentially bad because of the duration. And you know, I didn't get to bang up my legs quite as much as I would have liked because the nausea really just held me back, and my stomach, and just being really low on fluid and fuel. And all I wanted to do when I crossed the finish line was sit down and drink a beer. I could not have my Avery beer for another day. That's how you know it's bad. When I can't have a beer at the finish line, or that whole night after the race I can't eat, it's bad. It's bad. Yeah, I puked up some ginger ale right after I crossed the finish line, but we brought it in. Ginger Runner was out there filming. My pacer Joel was great. Parents and Sandy, thanks for all your support. Thanks to all the support online. You guys, the comments I've gotten from just some of the pictures I've posted have just really made my day and made it, it's really rewarding to finish that distance, and I am proud of that. I am very disappointed in my race, that being said. There's a lot of work to do, but it's a good learning experience. It's a good learning experience, something I can move forward from. I'd love to come back to Western States one day. I don't have an auto qualifier for next year because I missed 10th place by 2 minutes. But you know, I'd love to also go back to UTMB, and I'd love to do comrades and things like that. So next race up will be CCC. I'm gonna take a long time off recovering from this. Really want to get more Patreon posts out there for you guys, as well as exclusive videos. Thanks so much for all the support on YouTube here. It's been amazing. It's been really rewarding, and it's a real testament to the ultra trail running community that everyone is so supportive, and seeing that expressed at the finish line at Western States for the last runners coming in, as well as the mid-packers and everyone out there watching, was really encouraging and inspiring to see. And it really is a special event to take part in, so I've been very fortunate to be able to do that. We're still getting footage in, or taking footage for Western Stories. If you were out there filming, or you had a pacer filming, or you were filming yourself racing, or anything like that, you could submit it. Check out our page, sagerunning.com. There's a blog post on there, post on the website about Western Stories. You could fill out a form and submit your email contact so I could get you a Dropbox links, because we need more footage of anything around that race. Would be great to have, and I'm going to compile it together into a YouTube video, Western Stories Film Project. You can like it on Facebook, Western States Film. We really appreciate the support on that. Can't thank you guys enough for all the stories coming in. I know we had some people out there that had some tough finishes, some tough days, like me, but also some people that, you know, made their dreams come true, and that's really inspiring to see. And I think it's why we do this masochistic endeavor. You know, it's very hard to run 100 miles. It's very painful, and you're out there for hours and hours doubting yourself. You're beating up your quads, you're getting massively dehydrated, you're throwing up your guts. It is hard, and it's voluntary, but that's why it's so rewarding, I think. And you know, it was really rewarding to finish. Couldn't have done it without all your support, though. Thanks so much for all the supportive comments. Stay tuned for more videos coming up on here. We got more training talks, as well as just recovery videos, things like that. Maybe more reflection if you guys want it. But thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate the support. Hope your running's going well. And congrats to Andrew Miller and Casey Lichtig for winning the race, as well as all the finishers and all the people participating and the crews out there. Being a crew at Western States is very hard, so you have to drive like 3.5, 4 hours sometimes. Well, more than that throughout the day, but it's a long drive between some of those aid stations on back roads, and I really appreciate my parents and Sandy doing that, as well as Ginger Runner getting out there and filming. So stay tuned for that collaborative project on Ginger Runner's channel. Be sure to subscribe to Ginger Runner if you haven't already. But thank you so much, guys. Thanks for the Patreon supporters. Expect more content. I'm going to make a focused effort this summer to get you guys the content you deserve for that amount of support. Thanks again. Hope your training's going well, and stay tuned for more via 2Max Productions.